Hi there, my name is Jim Banks, and we're going to talk a bit about market research today. In the past, when we want to do marketing research, we would have to go back and look at all kinds of internet researches we'd have to deal with. I mean, there's just tons of data. It takes days to sit down and do a really good job of researching the area that you want to do business in, researching the type of business, researching the clientele, the business, doing all the demographics, all the information. With ChatGPT, we can do this in a couple hours, maybe less. Once you get good at it, you do a lot less. But in order to do that, you're going to need a paid version of ChatGPT. It's $20 a month. It's the best $20 you're going to spend. Go buy it, do your research, and cancel it. That's my best way. But I will tell you, once you start using it, you're going to find you don't want to cancel it. But for $20, you can get all your market research, and that's a great deal. So what we're looking at here is one I did earlier, and what I was wanting to look at was market research for boarding kennel in my area in Benton, Louisiana. Now I'm going to read you this prompt up here. Please don't laugh at me. You can come down here and you can do speech to text, or you can type it in. I do speech to text because I do a lot of this stuff. So here's what it says. Okay, I need you to research boarding kennels in Benton, Louisiana. I would like to know, are the demographics of the people that use them and how often they use them, and whatever additional data that you think I should know. We're going to use this to build out our target audience for the Benton area. Also going to use this to determine if this is a good fit or a good location for us to build or buy a boarding kennel. So I spoke that in there, and obviously it did not get my southern accent all that well. And so you see, this is not very good. But what it does is it comes out and says, okay, let's get some more clarifying information. And so it asks these questions, and you'll see here, I answer the questions. I'm not going to read all these because that would get boring. So now it says, okay, great. I've got all the data I need. I will go out and I will start doing the thing and getting all the data. It took 12 minutes and 34 seconds. If you've ever used ChatGPT or something like that, you know that most of the time, when you ask it a question, you get a response in 15 to 30 seconds. So this is a very extensive research. When it's researching, there'll be a panel over here on the right, and it shows kind of what's going on. Yeah, you don't really need to look at that. It just kind of keeps a log of what's happening. So here's the information it gave for us. So it went out in a 25-mile radius, and it looked at all the different boarding kennels, and it did not grab all of them, but it grabbed a bunch of them. Interesting side note, there's my kennel right here, Camp Cypress Dog Retreat, showing up number one. The reason for that is that we've spent a lot of time in energy marketing our website. And so in searches for this area and stuff, it comes up as number one. This is what you want to do if you own a business. But it goes through here and it talks about these different places, and it gives a little basic brief outline about them. And then it gives the sources where it grabs that information from. And you'll see most of these got it from their websites. So good data there. Now it's going to give us some information about the different kennels in more detailed, and it's going to give you just kind of what the kennel is about. And it's really pulling it off their website and reviews and all that. And I'll show you what we can do with reviews here in a minute. All right, so I'm not going to go through all of these. You can stop this and read these if you want. I'll scroll down slower, so if you want to pause at any point in time and read this, you can. But yeah, you know what? Better than that, I will upload this Google document so that you guys have access. So that way you won't have to watch me scroll down through here. So the next question we asked for is, or one of the questions that we'd asked was, what is the local demographics and consumer behavior of this area? So it goes in and it gives us all of that. So it talks about how the ownership is approximately 38%. It's close to what the national average is around 40%. Talks about population in the areas. So it gives you some data. Then down here, it gives you some income data, kind of going through what's going on in the different areas. So you kind of get a feel for, I'm in this little town of 59,000. These guys make around $59,000. It's growing. When we started, it was about 2,054 people. So we're probably 2,094 people now. I joke. Yeah, the area is growing out here. But this is a medium income for that area. Again, not a huge income. We're not in a high income area, but we'll do close to $500,000 this year in business. Yeah, you can't really beat that in a small area here. One of the things to take away out of this is higher incomes correlate with higher pet spending, and obviously that makes sense. So it's going to give you some of that data as we go through here. It's going to talk about their traveling and what they do. One of the things I found interesting here was a 14% increase over 2023. Again, part of that was because everyone's cooped up for COVID, but money is starting to free up. The economy was getting a little bit better, and so people are traveling more. And they give you some boarding versus different alternatives, some information here. People who drive versus fly. Again, we're just really learning about the customers now. Pet care spending trends, kind of talks a bit about this. So the cool part about this is let's say you want to know more about this segment right here. You just copy and paste this down below. Say, hey, tell me more about this, and then it will give you much more detailed information on that. So it's going to talk about the market fit for kennels. It's going to talk about Benton is a bit removed. Well, that's an understatement. We moved out 30 minutes to a grocery store. That's not true. We had a little small one here in town, but to like a Walmart or Kroger or a Brookshire's or anything like that, we were about 30 minutes away. Town's starting to grow out to us now, so it's not the case. But yeah, in the beginning, we were a bit removed. People had to drive an hour to an hour and a half routinely to drop their dogs off to us. And we get into some of the other stuff. I'll tell you some pretty amazing stats of what we managed to accomplish here. So it talks about the competition. Again, it says, while there's numerous kennels in the metro area, demand is strong enough to support them. So that's really what we want to know as we're looking through all of here. Consumer segments is going to break down the different consumers and young families and moving, blah, blah, blah. It goes into all that stuff. Some challenges that you might have, and it talks about pet sitters and in-home boarding. That is definitely a thing, and that is a growing thing. But I find that most people still don't want to use that. They don't want people in their house. But we have dogs that just do not do well in boarding. We suggest that they do that. But that is one of your competitors out there. But it's not a thing. So regulatory factors, we're going to talk about more about this. We'll get into the legality of doing a kennel. Louisiana is an interesting place. And it gives you kind of a conclusion what's going on with all of this stuff. So pretty cool. It gives you a pretty good data set. So once you're done with this is where it stops. This is the deep research that we did. So remember, to get started deep research, we put in our question here, what we want to talk about. We click deep research. We click the go button over here, and it does your deep research. So, but now that it's done, I want to ask it a question. So I ask it here, what are the average nightly rates for boarding in this area? And so it gives it to me for your basic kennels, for your upgraded kennels, and for your specialty kennels. Okay. And then it gives it to me. So it gives me a little chart right here. It tells all that, which is kind of cool. It makes it easy to read. And then it says, so what are some of the reasons that dog owners would choose these boarding kennels? And so it kind of goes through here and gives us all that information. All right. So now this is giving us ideas that we start building our kennels, what it is that we should do. I'm going to go a lot more into marketing in another video, in another segment, but I think it's important that we get a basic idea as we're deciding whether or not this is something that we want to do. Remember I told you we could copy this? So we're going to do that real quick, and then I'm going to close this video out. I just want to show you what you can do to make this thing. I would like to find out more information and do a little more research on what we have below here. I'm going to get rid of deep research because I don't want to do deep research. I just want to do normal research. And so now here it's going to go. So it looks up here at what I ask, and it's starting to do its thing, and you'll see how here in about 30 seconds, it's going to give you a really, really big chunk of data here that you can look at. So that is it. So we can go back in here. It says now it gives us more detail in it, approximately how many dollars. It's 10% increase, which is huge. 10% year over year is outstanding. And it's thinking that the market's going to hit $15 billion in 2030. So what this tells me is, as I'm looking through here, is that these are all good reasons for me to start this business. Increased pet ownership as of 25, 94 million households had it, blah, blah, blah. 68 million own at least one dog. It's crazy numbers. Humanization of pets. This is something that we're really going to talk about when we get into the marketing. People believe that their pets are like family, and they are. And I will tell you, my dogs take better supplements and get better stuff than I get. So we'll talk about some different economic factors here. So despite the economic fluctuations, pet service has demonstrated to be very resilient. And I will tell you that ours drops a little bit when the economy gets bad, but it doesn't drop that much. And then gets some more regional considerations that it talks about here. So yeah, so you can keep asking questions all you want. So it's really kind of cool. So we're going to get rid of this thing here. This chat thing is over. So that is it. This is how we do market research, and we'll get into how we do really in-depth target market research in another video. But this is pretty cool. All right, if you guys have any questions, let me know. We'll be happy with you. Ask them in the group. Or shoot us an email. Get on one of our weekly calls and ask a question, and we'll get you taken.